Well, this ought to be a pretty exciting meeting Friday or Saturday, I guess, Saturday morning.
You're gonna run the meeting, aren't you?
I guess I get to make up for you for me last year, huh?
For last year, yeah.
Yeah.
You still owe me for that. I don't just wanted to remind you that.
Well, I guess we'll just pass it on to Tom, right? He'll be the one. He'll be the debtor now, won't he?
That'd be all right. I don't know whether his credit may not be any good. I don't know.
I don't know.
Who's going to talk
Are
about?
we the only three? I guess we're the only three on. Is that right so far?
So far, Tom said he was going to be on, and Joe Bockold, I guess.
Who's going to give the house presentation?
Assume the noble ruler will, won't he?
No, I'm talking about the potential house.
Oh, well, I guess we're going to find that out.
Okay.
Chuck, Paul, and I are going to do the architect meeting, and we're going to do the video, and then do some explanation of the drawings that we did. And I don't know if Al's going to do anything as well, but.
Well, I assume Susan and Kupek will be there.
Yeah, they'll be there before our meeting starts to do theirs, right? That's what I heard.
Well, I mean, in my view, that's kind of the important part of it. I mean, yeah, I understand we got to have a design and all that stuff, but you got to have a place to put it and a way to fund it before you get too carried away with designs and drawings.
Yeah, but I mean, even with ours, if you don't happen to do SIU, architect and our drawings and things like that, it can always be used and relocated anywhere. I mean, it's just an idea. It's just to build excitement, that type of thing.
Absolutely. But,
I was thinking with what we got 60 that signed up for the meeting.
Let me look.
You got the count there.
Yeah, let me open it up.
What you sent me today said 48.
At 48.
Well, that's what Rick sent me a little bit ago.
Yeah, so the meeting is only the meeting is the ag banquet is 46. The meeting itself is 66.
Well, but alums.
That's everybody that's going to be there. 66. There's going to be 40. Whatever I said to you, Ron. 48 alums.
Yeah, 48. Yeah.
But you'll have. But you'll have the active chapter at that meeting.
Yes.
And so is that room, smaller room, is that big enough to handle that many, or do we need to have Susan get the auditorium?
We were in the auditorium last year, weren't we?
No. We were in
or year before last.
209. Year before last we were.
Year before last we were in the auditorium.
Yeah, we were just in the other room because we only had 40 some people there.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't there. But yeah.
Yeah. With 60, that may be too many for that room.
Yeah, I don't know.
I agree. We definitely if we got 60 going 66 going to be at the meeting, we definitely need the auditorium. Definitely. That should not be any problem. I mean, Saturday morning, I don't expect there'll be too many classes in there.
No, it's just that Susan needs to have it unlocked or whoever. And
yes.
So we can set up, and if we got any audio visuals, have that fixed up.
Yeah, for sure.
Who do you want to contact, Susan?
Well, I can. It's easy. I mean, I can send her an email. That's no problem. I don't know what you'll need for setup for your stuff is going to be what's going to be required setting up and stuff.
Yeah, and I had already emailed her before about what we needed. So we need for a Zoom meeting, we need that type of setup, and we need a screen so we could play the video.
Well, it's got all that, but because the other night Epcar broadcast on a Zoom meeting from there, but it wasn't very well done. But I'm
Right.
sure
Is
yours
that
will
the
be
same
much
room?
better. But
Is that the
well,
same
that's
room?
they were in the auditorium, weren't they? In the auditorium or not?
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe they weren't. Maybe they weren't. Well, if you've already contacted her about that, why don't you just go ahead and
Okay.
tell her what you need, and
Okay.
or Tom, either one, but
Okay.
either
I'll
one
just
of us
send her,
can send her a note.
I'll send her an email and just copy you and Tom when what I send her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that when I saw that count, that, that'd be a lot for that one room for 60.
Oh
of them.
yeah, no. By all means, that's a great idea. I guess I was being dumb. I just assumed it was going to be in the auditorium. Bad on my part.
Hi, Jim. You're muted, Jim.
Now, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
okay.
hear me now? Can you hear me
When-
now?
When do you want me to get you the financial reports? You want to send them to you and then you can just put them on the screen and we don't have to worry about making 100 copies of them or what?
I'm okay with that.
I mean, I don't know. A lot of times I've done it before where I've sent them to you and to Rick Hyatt, and sometimes somebody makes copies of them and we pass them out. Sometimes we don't. I just, I've made 100 copies before and thrown most of them away, so I just wondered just need to decide which way we can do that. I can get you the stuff, and I don't know if Rick Hyatt can too. And then if there's people out there we send it to, they can get it too, as far as that goes.
Yeah,
I'll
whatever
probably-
anybody wants.
For Wednesday or Thursday, I can get you the stuff.
Yeah, I'd send
Well,
it
it's
out
really a shame.
electronically.
Probably a great waste of paper, but I imagine people will want copies. I don't.
But
Okay,
if
I
you-
mean,
if you send it out electronically, the participants, they could print their own.
I can still have some paper, or I don't know. Like I said, sometimes Hyatt does that, sometimes he doesn't, sometimes I've done it. We've doubled up before. I mean, if we're gonna look at it on the screen whenever I go to talk about it, then majority of the people there can see it. If they want some copies, we can have some there too. I could have, I don't know, 20 or 30, whatever. I mean, instead of saying, okay, I got 100 copies here, and we throw most of them away.
Yeah, Rick, story in the past, haven't you posted that with your meeting summary so that anybody can see it?
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that.
I have a few hard copies just in case somebody there wants to take one home with them or something. Otherwise, they can get it off of that.
Jim, my suggestion is about 10 to 15 copies max.
Okay.
I would
Tom?
agree with that. I think it's a terrible waste of paper.
Okay. The purpose of today's call is to get everybody aligned with our financials in terms of collecting money, the when, the where, and the how, so that we walk out of Saturday night understanding what we owe and that we have collected from every last human being walking in the door. And so Rick, I want to compliment you on your list you sent out. That was very well done.
Is that good enough, do you think, to bring for people to check off at the on Founders? That a spreadsheet like that?
I was only going to suggest maybe just like a separate column with like a checkbox in it or something, or people can draw a line through it. Since I'm not the one going to be there, I'm leaving it to Steve and Ron to add that. But that was just my thought.
I can add a checkbox, a line, a column. And then
Yeah, it'd be nice if you had what they've paid or what they owe.
I do on the sheet. I do.
Yeah, I mean, when you print that, God, we don't need everything on there, but just because that makes it too many columns to look at. But if you just got a
Right.
column of what they paid, what they owed, and then maybe what they've paid that night or however it is, if they're supposed to pay that night, or
Okay.
just enough information that we know what we're doing.
Okay. That's fine. I can do that. Because I'm
there-
assuming people are going to pay even at the meeting and the breakfast and things like that. So we're going to have to keep that one copy and just use it all day because Jim, I'm sure people give you checks all throughout the meeting and lunch and whatever, right?
to try to stuff and yeah, us old guys, I know who all them are. You know, it's the ones that fall through the cracks are either the new members or the new alumni that,
Right.
you know, that's the problem when Tom and I talked about last year. Like, you know, we have to have somebody to check them off because, you know, some of them are saying that they're going to be paying at the door, it says, you know, well, at the door.
Well, if they haven't paid by the time they get to the door, they aren't getting in. That's the whole point of all this.
Yeah.
Well, we set it up so that if people haven't paid, they're gonna pay
Yeah,
at the door, right? They're
yeah,
not getting in without paying, right?
yeah.
Just me
That's the
saying,
whole point.
just
Yep.
me talking here, I'd rather not have any money owed us Sunday morning at the breakfast. If they can't pay, to Ron's point, by Saturday night, to hell with them. We don't want them coming on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, no, right. I don't think any of the very few of the
Well,
actors would
they can come Sunday, they just aren't gonna get in Saturday night.
right.
Well, they won't be awake on Sunday. That's why they're not.
There's going to
Well,
be a table.
what we need to figure out is the mechanics of how we're gonna, one, check them off and collect the money. Tom and I had talked earlier and we talked about giving them a ticket if they're paid, but I don't know, that's kind of awkward. So Tom, are you still thinking, and Steve, are you still thinking we'll have a setup at the Saturday morning at the meeting and then another setup Saturday night at the gathering? Is that your thinking?
That is my thinking. We have a table lined up for both events. The table will be set up by the volunteers on Saturday morning, and then 17th Street will have a table set up for right as people get in the door. So it looks to me like it's almost critical that we're geared up and ready to go whenever we find out that bus is going to arrive.
So who are the volunteers Saturday morning? I mean, is that Steve and Gene and Judy and me Saturday morning? Is that?
Yes.
I mean, who's going to get the table and set it up?
Susan Graham said it's going to, she's making it happen.
Now, before you came
Okay.
on, Tom, we were talking about with 60 some scheduled for the meeting, we probably need to be in the auditorium, don't we?
Probably so. I was gonna leave the fine points of it to to you guys and not try to overthink it or overmanage it, because with me not being there, it's unfair for me to overmanage it.
Well, if we get,
We've already decided we're going to ask Susan to set up the auditorium.
yeah, 60 is too many in that 209 or whatever room that number is.
That's probably a good idea, because I talked to Terry Haybrock and he's not registered. He's going to be down there on Saturday for the meeting, and he's going to talk to Jim Brzezinski, John Brzezinski, Craig Brazelton, and Rocky or whatever. He's going to talk to about half a dozen guys over his way, and they might just come down for the meeting too, just to be there for that. So we might see some people show up for the meeting that aren't registered too. So that number could go up.
I think that's a good point, Jim. I've been thinking all along, there's going to be walk-ins that are going to show up that didn't register and may well come just for the meeting. So I would not be surprised to see 15, 20, maybe 30 walk-ins, honestly.
But really, the only thing we're charging for isn't just the meal for that night, for Saturday night,
Yes.
the $70.
Correct. Yeah, they won't charge them for the meeting or,
Yeah, it's 70 for the dinner for alums and 40 for the actives and new members.
correct.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to have $300 worth of tens. So if somebody's paying cash, tens should work fine for that. We'll always take cash.
All six of this lead group go to the bottom.
So Jim, you're gonna have that lunch or the lunch box, cash box available first thing on Saturday morning, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
These guys I'll be down there on Friday night too, but I won't be at the Ag Bank for the Holiday Inn. But I'll have that stuff available. I'll also have a list as of Thursday of who's paid me, if there's any updates on that.
All right, then send that to me Thursday before I print the master list to bring
Okay.
for everybody to use from that point.
The
Hey,
only
did
thing
some,
when I get home on Thursday night, if there's somebody that paid me then, I'll mark it down.
hey, does somebody have a TV or radio on in the background?
During the caution flag, number 9. Therefore, they had to stay on pit road and take more.
If so, could you mute that?
Number 9. But I don't think they need to worry too much, Steve, because if come a lot down.
Can't miss the Daytona 500, Tom.
Yeah, sorry about
They
that,
got 6
Ron.
laps. They got 6 laps in before they had the first wreck.
Okay, that's a beautiful thing.
matter?
So we have ourselves a plan, and was that room changing, where you're meeting at from what was set up, or is that still the same?
It's probably changing. I mean, I'm gonna email Susan and just tell her how many people we have and say that, you know, we probably need the auditorium.
Okay,
We're gonna have 66 that's scheduled and possibly, you know, many more show up, so.
okay. One last thing, I spoke with Greg Webb today, and Greg reminded me to remind the group that the Sunday morning thing starts at 9 a.m. I didn't know if that time had been communicated already.
It was on the agenda I sent out.
Okay,
Now.
okay, that's beautiful. And Greg confirmed that he has it set up with Giant City, so that's off the list in terms of checking off our check boxes.
So the only other thing is, we have to make sure, are we still gonna get our tour after lunch of the old building? I haven't heard back from Susan whether that's truly scheduled. Have you? Any of you?
I have not, but the fact, I don't want to overstate it, but she's interested, but can't you just do it after the meeting and
They were gonna let us in. The way I understood it, we were gonna walk through the building.
oh, you're not gonna like creep through the back door?
Well, we were trying to do this on the up and up because they volunteered to let us in. So I was just gonna go with that if we could. I mean, I know
Yeah.
Ron and the bunch of guys
It'd be
got in
kind of
last
nice to
time.
go in the front door again.
Yeah,
It'd be kind of nice to go in the front door again,
I agree.
just for old time's sake.
I'll verify that in my email with her when I send the email after the meeting. I'll include that if, you know, are we gonna do the tour and what time would that be?
Oh, okay, all right. That sounds good to me.
Because I do have Rolando wanting to come to that tour also with us.
Yeah, I can't think what an invaluable thing that will be for him.
Right.
And I really like your email to him earlier about you know, what you were trying to show and everything. So yeah, you're doing a great job. Thank
All right,
you.
perfect.
Jim, when it comes to that cash box, you said all 10s. As I think about it, with what people bring, wouldn't it be better to bring a mix of 5s and 10s?
Well, if they're paying either 40 or 70, if they're paying 70 and they give you $100 bill, you give them 3 10s. If they're paying you 40 and they have to have $50 bill, you give them a 10. If otherwise, there's really nothing divisible by 5, and Yeah, if they need a 20, 210s will work for a 20.
I'm just sitting there thinking if there's any other scenario. I guess you're right.
And if it was 35 like it was before and 60 or 65, then it might be different. But I thought, well, if somebody needs $30, we can give them 3 10s instead of a 20 and a 10.
Okay. So in closing this conversation out, Rick, the list that you're gonna send will be what, Thursday with the checklist on it where they will check off as paid?
Yeah, well, actually, I won't email it. I'll just bring it, because if I send it, you're gonna need a hard copy. So I don't know who's gonna do it. I could send it and somebody print it, and then we just make a decision. This person's gonna take charge of the hard copy. I don't care how we do that. Whatever anybody wants to do. If you want me to send it Thursday night through email, and if Ron or Steve are gonna be the first ones there at the meeting, they could just print a copy, and that'll be our master list for the day. We just need to keep one master list. However you
Very
guys want to
true.
do it.
Very true. That sounds good. I don't think I have anything else. I just wanted to get everybody aligned and on the same page and knowing what we're doing and making sure we don't end up $1,000 short at the end of Saturday night.
I do have one quick question. Are all of the people that was on the agenda originally from Rick Hyatt, are they all speaking? Because Rick has our meeting starting at 11 based on the number of people gonna speak. Is that all set? Because he also had the meeting originally ending at 12, and there's no way we're gonna go a meeting from 11 to 12. So I told Susan Graham that if we start at 11, I can't see us ending before 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock even. I think a 2-hour meeting is probably going to be, with what we have to talk about, and if that many people show up, is probably going to be minimum 2 hours. Do you guys agree?
I agree. It
I
always
agree.
goes over.
What time we starting the whole process? Donuts and stuff at 8:30? Is that what it is?
8:30, and then the meeting speakers are supposed to start at 9 till 11. Well, 9 till 10:45, a break from 10:45 to 11. 11 to 12 originally was a meeting, which I think should be 11 to 1 with lunch after 1. That's my thoughts anyway. I just want to make sure we do allow enough time for the meeting.
Well, even without the house discussion in the past, we never got done in an hour anyway.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think it's 1 is going to be the earliest in my mind.
I think the worry or the concern is that a number of the people that are on the agenda for Saturday morning may or may not be there due to conflicts with their Florida trip and so on. But I don't know, and maybe one of you, Steve or Ron, know who those people were. I thought one of them was the dean.
Yeah,
I think the
know.
provost was going to be gone. I was thinking she may or may not be back, but that was the only one that I knew of.
I thought there was another individual that was the dean. How do we track that down for sure so that we can go into Saturday morning, and if we can push everything up 15 minutes or a half hour, it'd be to our benefit. How do we find that out and get something definite?
I don't know who's handling. Is that Rick Hyatt handling that? I don't know.
He set it up with the timeline. So how about I get a hold of Rick Hyatt and I see if he has any more clarity on who is coming, and then if there's any way to move the whole chain of the meeting up, we will. So I'll check with Rick and find out if I can get better answers.
Well, then I'll wait to email Susan till I hear back from you on that, because then that'll matter for Susan how long because she wanted to know when to close the room and have people clean up. So that'll affect that for her.
Okay. All right. I'll do my best to get an answer to you tonight.
I'd like to throw my 2 cents worth in on that. I mean, we meet like this once a year. This is probably the most important meeting we've had in many years. And I've often wondered why I'm not sure I'm real enamored with people from the university come traipsing across. I'm not sure they've ever offered that much, but the point being, we need to take this meeting needs to last as long as it needs to last. And it sounds like we're going to have quite a few folks that have not attended in some time. And I'm sure there's only one reason those folks are coming, and that's because they're curious about this house. So I guess to Rick's point, if we don't start our formal official whatever meeting before 11, then it definitely needs to be scheduled to 1 o'clock or even beyond. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
I think an hour, and I don't know who all we're gonna have, the dean and was the chancellor gonna be there? I didn't think he was. I don't know. Who all.
No, I don't believe he was gonna be there. I don't think he was ever on the list.
Yeah, but so you can cut those, give them, 15 minutes to talk, and then Susan and Matt are the ones gonna take the time. They're gonna take more time than the time they field questions and all about the fundraising and other things like that.
Okay. So.
Well, I think you were right, Tom. Check with Rick and just make sure who's coming, and even if we start at 10:30, I personally think this is going to go an hour. It's going to go 2.5 hours regardless.
Okay,
I agree. I think we need to allocate 2 hours at a minimum for the formal meeting.
Right.
I agree. And Ron, I want to second your idea about what you just said. That was well said and well spoken. I agree.
And we need to make sure we inform the actives that are picking up the lunch.
Yeah, that's going to affect that too. You're right.
And
And all the spouses that are coming to the lunch,
Yeah.
That'll get pushed back as well. So
Yeah, that sounds good. They'll all have to be informed. Rick, can you remind Chris Randla to make sure that if they're buying desserts like they bought last year, that they actually bring them this year?
I have several times, but I'll do that again.
Good
What
idea.
do we deal with? What are we dealing with sometimes, right?
Yes, he even brought that up.
Yeah.
So they're aware of it.
Okay. I don't want to belabor things. I appreciate everybody being on here. I appreciate your help this weekend. And as I said, the goal is to have really just good accounting and end up even, no more, no less.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody. I'll be back to you, Rick, as soon as I can get an answer.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Thanks,
Okay.
everybody. See ya.
Rick,
See ya.
I'll
see
get,
you this weekend.
Have a good.
Bye now.
You betcha. Bye.
Rick, I'll get my reports to you on Thursday.
Okay, I'll send them out. All right,
Okay.
thanks. All right, see you guys.
Okay.